Have you ever truly considered what life might be like after 80? Beyond the golden years, the leisurely pursuits, and the cherished family moments, there lies a stark and often unspoken truth. As we navigate our 9th decade and beyond, a profound challenge emerges. One that affects millions of seniors, yet remains largely invisible. The brutal reality of aging loneliness. This isn't just about being alone. It's a deep, pervasive sense of isolation that can silently erode well-being and diminish the very joy of life. In this video, we're going to peel back the curtain on 5 brutal realities every senior must understand about aging loneliness. From the shrinking social circles that are an unavoidable consequence of time, to the widening digital divide, the silent stigma of asking for help, the painful loss of purpose, and society's shocking oversight of this invisible epidemic. You need to watch this video until the end, not just to understand these realities, but because this isn't just about them, it's about us. Whether you are approaching this stage of life, caring for an aging loved one, or simply someone who believes in a more compassionate future, understanding these truths is crucial. By the end, you'll gain invaluable insights that can help you recognize the signs, offer meaningful support, and perhaps even inspire a shift in how we, as a society, approach the later chapters of life, ensuring no one is left behind in the quiet despair of isolation. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. The shrinking social circle, a natural, yet painful attrition. For individuals over 80, one of the most poignant and inescapable realities is the gradual erosion of their social circle. This phenomenon is not a deliberate choice to withdraw from the world, but rather an insidious and often heartbreaking consequence of aging, shaped by the relentless passage of time and the inevitability of mortality. The once vibrant tapestry of relationships that defined their lives, filled with laughter, shared histories, and mutual support, begins to unravel, leaving elders grappling with profound loneliness. Loss of peers and loved ones. The most immediate and visceral contributor to this shrinking social circle is the death of those closest to them. Friends who shared decades of memories, siblings who were lifelong confidants, spouses who were partners through life's triumphs and trials, and even adult children may pass away, leaving gaping voids in an elder's emotional and social landscape. Each loss is not just the absence of a person but the erasure of shared rituals, late-night conversations, holiday traditions, or simple moments of companionship, like a quiet cup of coffee together. For example, an 85-year-old widow might find herself staring at an empty dining table where her husband of 60 years once sat, or a retired teacher might mourn the absence of a lifelong friend who shared stories of their classroom days. These losses accumulate, and as peers from their generation face similar health declines or pass away, the pool of familiar faces dwindles. The once lively gatherings, whether at a community center, church, or family reunion, become smaller, quieter, and less frequent, amplifying the sense of isolation. Geographic dispersion. Compounding this loss is the physical distance that often separates elders from their families. Adult children and grandchildren may relocate to distant cities or countries for career opportunities, to start their own families, or to pursue personal aspirations. What was once a bustling family home, filled with the chatter of children and the warmth of shared meals, can transform into a silent, empty nest. Regular visits become logistically challenging, especially if travel is expensive or time-consuming. For instance, an elderly parent in a small rural town might see their children only once or twice a year, if at all, because of the demands of modern life. Phone calls or occasional letters may offer some connection, but they cannot replicate the comfort of a warm embrace or the joy of spontaneous, in-person interactions. This geographic dispersion can leave elders feeling like distant observers of their families' lives, disconnected from the milestones and daily moments that once bound them together. Decline in mobility and health. Physical limitations further exacerbate social isolation, as declining health and mobility restrict an elder's ability to engage with the world. Chronic conditions such as arthritis, heart disease, or neurological disorders can make even simple tasks, like walking to a neighbor's house or attending a local event, daunting or impossible. For example, an 82-year-old who once loved hosting bridge nights may no longer be able to drive to the community center or manage the physical demands of setting up a game. Reliance on mobility aids like walkers or wheelchairs, while helpful, can also create barriers to participation in social activities, particularly if venues are not accessible. Moreover, fatigue or pain from chronic illnesses can sap the energy needed to maintain social connections, leading to unintentional withdrawal. The result is a once active community member confined to their home, watching the world they once inhabited pass by without them. Sensory impairments. Sensory declines, such as hearing or vision loss, add another layer of isolation. Hearing loss, which affects a significant portion of those over 80, can make phone conversations frustrating and group gatherings overwhelming, as background noise drowns out voices. An elder might avoid social events altogether, fearing embarrassment or exhaustion from straining to hear. Similarly, vision impairments, such as cataracts or macular degeneration, can hinder activities like reading, writing letters, or recognizing faces in a crowd, all of which are vital for maintaining social bonds. For instance, an elderly woman who once found joy in knitting with friends may stop attending her knitting circle because she can no longer see the stitches. These sensory challenges not only limit practical engagement but also erode confidence, making elders hesitant to venture into social settings where they feel vulnerable or out of place. The cumulative impact of these factors is a profound and pervasive loneliness that seeps into every corner of an elder's life. The silence in a once lively home can feel oppressive, the absence of familiar voices a constant reminder of what has been lost. The vibrant social network that once provided comfort and joy frays, thread by thread, leaving elders to navigate a world that feels increasingly empty and unfamiliar. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 2. The digital divide. A growing chasm in connection. In an era where technology has become the cornerstone of communication, the digital divide represents a significant obstacle for many individuals over 80. While younger generations seamlessly navigate social media, video calls, and online communities, many elders find themselves excluded from this digital landscape, further deepening their sense of isolation. The very tools designed to foster connection can, for this age group, become impenetrable barriers. Lack of digital literacy. For many seniors, the digital world is an alien terrain. Having grown up in an era of rotary phones and handwritten letters, they may find the interfaces of smartphones, tablets, or computers intimidating and incomprehensible. Terms like cloud storage, Wi-Fi, or app can feel like a foreign language, and the rapid evolution of technology only widens the gap. For example, an 83-year-old retiree might struggle to understand how to join a Zoom call with their grandchildren, despite their best efforts, leading to frustration and a sense of inadequacy. Even with patient instruction, the learning curve can feel insurmountable, particularly for those who lack prior exposure to technology. This lack of digital literacy not only limits their ability to connect, but also reinforces a sense of being left behind in a world that has moved on without them. Accessibility issues. Physical limitations compound the challenge of engaging with technology. Tremors, arthritis, or reduced dexterity can make it difficult to operate touchscreens, type on small keyboards, or navigate complex menus. Poor eyesight, a common issue among the elderly, can render tiny text or icons nearly impossible to discern. For instance, an elder with shaky hands might accidentally close a video call window or struggle to tap the correct button on a smartphone, leading to repeated failures and discouragement. Even adaptive technologies, like voice-activated assistants, may not fully bridge the gap, as they often require setup and familiarity that elders may lack. These accessibility barriers transform what should be a simple act of connection into a frustrating ordeal. Cost and access. The financial burden of technology further exacerbates the digital divide. Many seniors live on fixed incomes, and the cost of purchasing and maintaining up-to-date devices, such as smartphones, laptops, or tablets, along with reliable high-speed internet, can be prohibitive. For example, a widowed pensioner might prioritize paying for utilities or medications over investing in a new computer or a monthly internet plan. In rural areas, where internet infrastructure may be limited or unreliable, access becomes an even greater challenge. This economic barrier effectively cuts off elders from the digital platforms that have become the primary mode of communication for their families and friends. Perceived irrelevance. Beyond practical barriers, some seniors question the value of digital engagement altogether. Having spent decades building relationships through face-to-face interactions, they may view online communication as impersonal or less meaningful. A retired farmer, for instance, might dismiss social media as frivolous, or feel that a text message lacks the warmth of a handwritten letter. Others may simply not recognize the potential of technology to alleviate their isolation, such as joining virtual book clubs or attending online religious services. This perception leads many to disengage from digital platforms entirely, further isolating them from loved ones who rely on these tools to stay connected. The digital divide creates a cruel irony. While technology has the power to bridge geographical distances and foster connection, it often leaves the elderly stranded on the wrong side of the chasm. As their children and grandchildren share photos, updates, and video calls online, elders are excluded from these shared experiences, unable to participate in the digital lives of those they love. This exclusion amplifies their solitude, transforming technology from a lifeline into yet another reminder of their isolation. Number 3. The stigma of asking for help. Pride, shame, and independence. For many individuals over 80, admitting to loneliness or seeking help is a formidable challenge, rooted in deeply ingrained values of self-reliance, stoicism, and pride. These generational attitudes, combined with a fear of burdening others, create a silent barrier that prevents elders from voicing their emotional needs, perpetuating a cycle of isolation. Fear of being a burden. Many seniors have spent their lives as caregivers, providers, or pillars of strength for their families and communities. The role reversal, becoming someone who needs support, can be profoundly unsettling. They may worry that expressing loneliness will burden their busy children or friends, who are often juggling careers, parenting, or their challenges. For example, an 87-year-old grandmother might refrain from calling her daughter to avoid bothering her during a hectic workday, even though she longs for conversation. This fear of imposing can lead elders to internalize their struggles, believing their needs are less important than those of others. The result is a quiet suffering, as they suppress their desire for connection to spare their loved ones perceived inconvenience. Loss of independence. For a generation that prizes autonomy, acknowledging loneliness can feel like an admission of weakness or a surrender of independence. Many elders cling fiercely to the notion that they can manage on their own, even at the cost of their emotional well-being. For instance, a retired veteran might refuse to join a senior center, viewing it as a sign that he can no longer handle his affairs. This determination to remain self-sufficient, while admirable, can trap elders in a cycle of solitude, as they avoid opportunities for social engagement that might require vulnerability or reliance on others. Pride in generational values. The cultural ethos of past generations often emphasized stoicism and self-reliance, encapsulated in phrases like, "keep a stiff upper lip," or "pull yourself up by your bootstraps." These values, while fostering resilience, can make it extraordinarily difficult for elders to express emotional needs. Admitting to loneliness might feel like a betrayal of the strength they've cultivated over a lifetime. For example, an elderly woman who survived economic hardship or war might see her loneliness as a personal failing, something to be endured rather than addressed. This pride can prevent open conversations about emotional struggles, leaving elders to grapple with their feelings in silence. Misunderstanding of loneliness. Complicating matters further, some elders may not fully recognize or articulate their feelings as loneliness. Instead, they might describe a vague sense of unease, a lack of energy, or simply feeling old. This misidentification can stem from a lack of awareness about the emotional and psychological impacts of social isolation. For instance, an 84-year-old man might attribute his lethargy to physical aging, unaware that his lack of social interaction is contributing to his malaise. Without a clear understanding of their condition, elders may not seek help, and their families may remain oblivious to the depth of their suffering. This reluctance to voice loneliness creates a self-perpetuating cycle. Family members, unaware of the extent of their loved one's isolation, may not offer the support or companionship needed. Meanwhile, the elders' silence deepens, as they withdraw further into their solitude, convinced that their struggles are theirs alone to bear. Breaking this cycle requires not only individual courage but also a societal shift toward normalizing discussions about emotional needs in old age. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 4. The loss of purpose and role, a void in daily life. Loneliness in the elderly is not solely about the absence of people. It is also deeply tied to the loss of purpose and the roles that once gave their lives structure, meaning, and connection. As these roles diminish, elders often face a profound void that amplifies feelings of isolation and insignificance. Retirement from work. For many, a career was more than a source of income, it was a cornerstone of identity, a source of daily interaction, and a framework for mental engagement. Retirement, while often eagerly anticipated, can leave a significant gap. The loss of routine, the camaraderie of colleagues, and the sense of accomplishment from solving problems or contributing to a team can be jarring. For example, a former accountant who spent 40 years balancing books might find retirement disorienting, with long, unstructured days replacing the bustle of the office. Without meaningful activities to fill this void, such as volunteering, hobbies, or part-time work, the absence of purpose can lead to feelings of irrelevance and loneliness. Empty nest syndrome, revisited. The empty nest phenomenon, often associated with middle age, can resurface with greater intensity in old age. As grandchildren grow up and move away, the role of active grandparent, once filled with school pickups, bedtime stories, or weekend visits, may fade. For instance, an 80-year-old grandmother who once hosted lively family gatherings might now face holidays alone, as her grandchildren pursue their own lives. The quiet that replaces the chaos of family life can feel suffocating, leaving elders longing for the sense of purpose that came with nurturing their loved ones. Reduced caregiving roles. Many elders have spent years as caregivers, whether for a spouse, a parent, or even their children. The loss of these roles, often due to the death of a loved one, can strip away a fundamental sense of identity and worth. For example, a woman who devoted decades to caring for her ailing husband might feel adrift after his passing, her days no longer defined by the demands of caregiving. While these responsibilities were often challenging, they provided structure, purpose, and a clear role within the family. Their absence can leave elders questioning their value and place in the world. Decline in physical capabilities. Physical limitations can further erode purpose by preventing participation in activities that once brought joy and fulfillment. A former gardener might be unable to tend to their plants due to arthritis, or a lifelong choir member might stop singing because of respiratory issues. These losses are not just practical. They strike at the heart of an elder's identity and sense of accomplishment. The inability to contribute to their community, whether through volunteering, hobbies, or social events, can foster a sense of uselessness, making the days feel long and empty. The loss of purpose creates a vicious cycle. Without meaningful roles or activities, elders may withdraw from social opportunities, feeling they have little to offer. This withdrawal deepens their isolation, as the lack of engagement leaves them with fewer reasons to connect with others. The result is a life that feels increasingly hollow, where the absence of purpose and the weight of loneliness become inseparable. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 5. The invisible epidemic. Society's overlook of elder loneliness. Despite its profound impact on health and well-being, loneliness in the elderly remains an invisible epidemic, largely ignored by society, healthcare systems, and even families. This oversight stems from a combination of ageism, misplaced priorities, and a lack of awareness, leaving countless seniors to suffer in silence. Ageism and stereotypes. Societal attitudes toward aging often perpetuate the myth that loneliness is an inevitable part of growing old. Ageist stereotypes portray elders as naturally withdrawn or less in need of social connection, dismissing their emotional needs as secondary to their physical decline. For example, a well-meaning neighbor might assume that an 85-year-old living alone is content in their solitude, failing to recognize the pain of isolation. This misconception prevents proactive efforts to address loneliness, leaving elders to navigate their struggles without support. Focus on physical health. Healthcare systems frequently prioritize physical ailments, such as diabetes, heart disease, or mobility issues, over mental and emotional well-being. Loneliness, though linked to serious health outcomes like depression, cognitive decline, and even premature mortality, is rarely screened for or addressed in medical settings. A doctor might prescribe medication for an elder's hypertension, but overlook the fact that their social isolation is contributing to their overall decline. This narrow focus on physical health misses the holistic nature of aging, leaving loneliness untreated and unacknowledged. Lack of public discourse. Unlike other public health CRSES, such as obesity or opioid addiction, elder loneliness receives little attention in media, research, or policy discussions. It is rarely the subject of public awareness campaigns or significant funding, despite its prevalence and impact. This lack of visibility means that families, communities, and policymakers are often unaware of the scale of the problem or the urgent need for solutions. The silence surrounding elder loneliness reinforces the notion that it is a private, personal issue rather than a societal one. Difficulty in detection. Loneliness is often hard to detect, as many elders mask their feelings to avoid appearing weak or burdening others. Subtle signs, such as declining personal hygiene, disinterest in hobbies, or vague complaints about feeling tired, may go unnoticed by busy family members. For example, a son might assume his mother's quiet demeanor is simply part of aging, unaware that she spends her days longing for connection. This difficulty in recognizing loneliness allows it to fester, often reaching severe levels before it is addressed. Insufficient resources and programs. While some communities offer senior centers, visiting programs, or intergenerational activities, these initiatives are often underfunded, inaccessible, or unevenly distributed. Rural areas, in particular, may lack the infrastructure for robust social programs, leaving elders with few options for engagement. Even in urban settings, transportation barriers or financial constraints can prevent participation. For instance, a senior living in a city might want to attend a community art class but lack the means to get there or the funds to pay for it. The absence of widespread, accessible resources leaves many elders without the tools to combat their isolation. The consequence of this societal neglect is a generation of seniors suffering in silence, their need for connection overlooked or misunderstood. Addressing this invisible epidemic requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Loneliness must be recognized as a critical public health issue, deserving of the same urgency and resources as physical ailments. Only by acknowledging and prioritizing elder loneliness can we begin to weave a stronger, more inclusive social fabric for those in their later years. So, we've walked through the 5 brutal realities of aging loneliness. The shrinking social circle, the isolating digital divide, the silent stigma of asking for help, the profound loss of purpose, and society's often overlooked epidemic. It's a heavy topic, but an essential one to confront. Now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned from this video that resonated most deeply? Perhaps it's a new understanding of what an elder in your life might be experiencing, or maybe it's a realization about your youth. Please share in the comments below. What's one thing you've learned from this video that you will bring to practice in your life? Your insights and actions can make a real difference. If you found this video valuable, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more discussions that matter.